Paralives is showing off new animations for their youngest life stage, and while a lot of this does look promising, I do think there's some critique to be had too. Now, you may or may not have noticed that videos from me have been a lot slower lately. I am finishing up at the end of my semester and planning for the next one, and also unfortunately I have been having some health scares, so I appreciate in advance the patience. But I did want to cover this because honestly, whenever Paralives comes out with something, I think it is usually worth talking about. And this time, it's an animation showcase for babies. Now, we have seen babies previously, and honestly, I have about the same critique. Overall, I think the babies need a little fine tuning in terms of their appearance. I know some people don't like how parafolk look at all. I personally actually really do, for the most part. But I think what is most notable on babies is, of course, the blush overtone and then some of the outlines. And also, I think that some of the features could be fine-tuned as well. That said, I am actually pleased with the overall animations, and I do know the Paralives team continues to work on things behind the scenes. The first animation is a baby playing with a toy, and here we get to see a wooden spoon. We also get to see a step on something animation from an older parafolk picking up the baby from the floor and putting a baby in a crib, as well as changing the baby in the crib. And finally, we do get some back pain reaction here too, which unfortunately I can relate to because I had that just the other week. We get a look at Nail's animation too, and of course the baby crying. Now, all in all, I do think this works fairly well together. I do have some mild critiques on some of these animations, but for the most part, I do think they look fairly smooth. I also love how the pairs look when they are looking down at the baby. Now, as far as the nursery, I've also gone over that. I think that the clutter is amazing. I love the little details they put into this game, the love and the care. Even bottle feeding the baby looks really great to me. I'm not super picky, but I do think it was animated well, and I think it will serve the game well to have a solid foundation. Little animations like being the baby, rocking the baby make all the difference. Some people have also mentioned they'd love to see other animations such as tummy time, but putting so much thought and detail into the youngest life stage is really great to see. As far as the overall critiques, the changing animation isn't super detailed and maybe could be smoother in the process further along the road. And like I said, my other main critique is just the appearance of the babies. I think that the team will continue to work on that, but what's important to me is that they are laying a good foundation in terms of overall animations and just some small interactions that you would want to see in a game. And of course, prioritizing them right away means they have a lot of time to continue to work on them, both before early access and of course into early access as well. Also note that these are not by any means necessarily all the animations we're going to get. In the Patreon post, they did put some notes about their overall process, stating they're focusing on the essential animations such as holding, feeding, playing, and changing the baby. Once those are all done and approved, they're going to move on to the next required animations for the game. They need to create all the basics for everything first to make sure it's ready for early access. I think the team actually really knows what they're doing. On the technical side, they also had to create a feature that let them anchor a parafolk to another one. They had already had something similar working for objects, allowing characters to hold things in their hands, but not for holding another parafolk. You also can notice that they left some space between the adult parafolk's hands and the baby. That's actually not a mistake. It was used to prevent meshes interpretations when the babies wear clothing. As you can imagine, they say creating alternative animations depending on each piece of clothing would take too much time. And this is another reason I see it valuable to keep pace with what they're doing, because they really actually do teach you a bit about the development process and also the nuances and complexities of developing such a game. Such things seem simple to us if you've never programmed or animated, but in reality, they take a lot of time, attention to detail, and of course, trial and error. They also mentioned adding sounds and special effects to complement animations. For example, a censored blurred effect when the baby is being changed. So actually, that just answered my critique right there. I did feel like something was missing, and that honestly probably was what it was. There were also some suggestions, such as adding a cautious trait to the paramaker, and the pair having this trait will treat the baby more carefully, like holding the baby with both arms and checking frequently if the baby is okay. People noticed the proportions seemed off. Someone said that the arms and legs were way too long. Someone just flat out said the baby was really ugly, but they honestly didn't really clarify what they meant by that. While many others we're just happy to see the variety of animations. Some even said some of the animations did remind them of Sims 2, which I can kind of see with a few of them. Let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.